Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Two Player Podcast with Matt Likes Games and Ham Solo. Enjoy the show.
All right, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Two Player Podcast with myself, Matt Likes Games, my buddy Ham Solo. We've kind of been off for the last, 2 weeks, but we're back. Things to talk about. But before we get into the things to talk about, let's talk about what we've been playing. So I'm going to start with you, obviously. Ham, what have you been playing? What have you been up to?
I'm playing Destiny, a lot of Destiny with you and Mike and a couple other people. 2K, a ton of that with Bill and you. I've also been playing Mafia.
Nice.
On from the Xbox One, but I guess that's going to be coming to Game Pass soon. So I don't know. I just figured I'd give it a try, see if it was something I was even interested in. And like as soon as I turned on the game, I was just blown away. Like it's been a really good experience. I really like the game, and I can't wait for it to come to Game Pass because then I get to give it a try on PC and see how it goes.
Yeah.
There. So I'm pretty stoked for that. But yeah, a lot of Destiny, a lot of 2K, a lot of college football. I guess I didn't really talk about that. I guess it's been a while since we've been here, so like, yeah, I've been playing the like before this last week. I was playing a crap ton of college football, and it's been a great time. I really like that game. There are several reasons why I wouldn't want it to be like a game of the year candidate, like at all. But it is like a really awesome game that I highly recommend to anybody that's a football fan, especially if they like college football. If you like college football, it's just amazing. But there are definitely some things that just are like I could have figured that out if I was like there testing the game with them.
Name some.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, name some.
Okay, so like one that I really don't like is like one thing I personally don't really like in that game is when you win the highest, most prestigious trophy in the game. Like, I don't know. I was expecting like a cutscene of like you and your player, but instead it just shows your player's like mugshot pretty much and has like a couple like confetti things go off and it says Heisman winner. And it's like so anticlimactic. Like you go through playing all that, and like I understand it's a football game, it's playing football, and that's what it does good. And there is even some issues with that. But like winning the most prestigious trophy of like your player in Race to the Heisman, which originated from this game right here, NCAA. Yeah, right here, NCAA 06, Race for the Heisman.
Yeah.
Once you got the Heisman Trophy in this game, there was like a whole cut scene. You went to the podium, held up the trophy. Your person was wearing a suit. Like it was like an ordeal, and it showed you the votes between each person and like first round or like whatever, like however they do the ballots and that stuff, right? And like it was a spectacle, right? Like, and then this game, it just kind of feels like an afterthought, just kind of like, oh yeah, you literally made sure that you were the best person on the field every game. Here's a like it's like they threw a piece of confetti at you and said high five.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like I busted and sure, like you do that over and over. Of course, you do that like 4 years, right? But like you do that same stuff in here, right?
Mhm.
You do that 4 years in this game, right? And it just felt amazing. This not so much. So like the pageantry in the game is really good, but it really missed on some aspects of the pageantry that like could have like made that game just like let you know that they went above and beyond than Madden. To me, this is like when you play single player in Madden, it's like more of an experience than it is in here. And I'm not asking for them to give me the 2K experience, right? Because that's overly like they are
Too much.
like an RPG with things that don't make sense with basketball. So I'm asking them to keep it within college football, but I really don't like that the single kind of player feel is very like absent.
Okay.
Like I might have to make a video and just talk about that
You should definitely do that.
because
should
it's
definitely
just
do that.
it stinks. Like that part stinks in particular. I need to go back and play NCAA college football 14 and conduct a little bit of research and see
Right.
did they do like a presentation or something like that when you won the Heisman in that game? Because
Did
I
you hold
remember
up?
back in 06 they did.
Is that PS2? Oh, is that PS2?
This is PS fucking 2.
Okay. All right.
That's
Damn.
that's why I'm like, yo, like you guys did great, but like there's this that was 20 years ago
Yeah.
that did better
Yeah.
in my personal opinion. But the one thing I can say like confidently is I'm happy that it's back and they did justice to a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that. There's also like when your player goes off the field, like I've made Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? As a wide receiver at Wisconsin. And when you know the play is over, you're getting called off the field because somebody else is coming on or something like that, replacing you, you know, substitution. And when I'm running off the field, I'm just as tall as the next guy next to me. And in many cutscenes, I've noticed that I'm just as tall as everybody else. I'm not the freak. I don't look like the Greek freak out there that's like towering above everybody. Like Matt, you're a tall dude. You get noticed in public for your height. It just is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it, right?
Yep.
You're just a tall guy. I wanted that feeling of being like, hey, I'm taller than everybody else here. You see it when you're playing on the field. When you're playing the game, you see it. Like I'm a monster. Like not a monster. I'm like I'm a big dude. And what I mean is like I'm yoked out, right?
Yeah.
Like I got my guy like the Greek freak. Like he is yoked out. Like you ever see him flex after he like dunks the ball? It is
It's
like
huge. Yeah.
it's scary looking. Right? Like I got my guy looking like that, right? But then in the cutscenes when I go to run off the field or we won the game and we're jumping around, I'm the same height as everybody then.
That's
And
weird.
it is weird. It takes you out of the moment, right? And it has you like asking questions instead of enjoying what you're watching.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's a really bad play calling in the game sometimes that doesn't make any sense. And I mean, some of that's self-inflicted from myself. So there's probably some things I can clean up. But like I said, the height thing, I can't do anything about that. I know Giannis isn't the same height as my 6'2" quarterback or 6'5" quarterback. Right?
Yeah.
I'm significantly taller. And also what I told you about, like, when you win the Heisman, it's pretty lackluster. When you win the national championship as well, it's pretty lackluster. What they did really well in this game, and I feel like this game is more like because the way that developers create these games and the way that we look at them as customers are two totally different things. And this is the last thing before we move on. Like, the developers look at it when they make like they made this game. Now this is their baseline,
Yeah.
right? So, like, everything else, because these games are repetitive, like 2K and everything like that, you don't really have to do a whole lot. The only thing you have to do is add a little more, touch this up a little bit, make this piece a little bit better, make the throwing animation make a little bit more sense, add a little bit more to that road to glory, like I'm talking about, like that, like winning the Heisman. They could add that in the next year's version or something like that. But
Mhm.
what they've essentially made that I'm at least proud of in this game is the game itself, because it's been on an 11-year hiatus, and something is better than nothing. So I'm not going to sit here and say, man, they shouldn't even came out with this, but I am going to say, yo, it ain't this. I'm not even sure if it's 14, to be honest. I haven't played enough of 14. I played a good amount, but I haven't played enough of 14 in Dynasty mode, at least, to really get a good understanding. I played a lot of Road to Glories and stuff like that, which is you playing to, like, get the Heisman and be the best player on the field. But like this, like they even, I mean, like they advertise it and stuff on the back right there. Like, they want you to get that Heisman. You know what I mean? Because they want to show you off.
Yeah.
So I just hope they bring that back. I'd love a race for the Heisman 2. Put it that way. I think this is race for the Heisman 1.
A lot of fair criticism to a game that you otherwise very much enjoy, which is possible. You can enjoy something.
I play it almost
and
every day. I love it. Like, I
Exactly.
literally love this game. It's just, there's just, when you've had it before and it's the same folks, like, maybe not the same people, because
True, yeah.
people get fired and people retire and stuff like that. But when it has the same, it has the arch. It's McDonald's, right? When I go there, I expect to get some good ass fries and a decent burger and maybe a soft drink, right?
Yeah.
But like, but when I'm going there and now they say they have the same, but I can taste that it's different. And then you tell me we're working back towards that kind of success, or we're kind of like because to me it just sounds like, hey, we're refixing or reinventing the wheel. And I'm like, why? You already had the formula and now you're like drip feeding it again. And like I'm scared it's gonna become a Madden. Like, that's kind of what I'm scared of, where it feels like it's like it's either drip fed or just kind of pushed to the side and just kind of like whatever. Because I feel like single player, when it comes to sports games, kind of get the fu. And
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but that's the one thing I kind of like about 2K, is because they actually, like, although I hate it, they at least really went in on it.
Yeah, you can.
They
Yeah,
gave
they
you a lot of
definitely do
options.
that.
The options are shit, but
Yeah.
like they gave you a ton of stuff to do and stuff to do with your personal player that you made. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna make this character, I'm gonna transfer it to Madden, but after I play like 10 seasons of Madden, like I don't like I don't know, man. It just doesn't seem like there's enough to do in this day and age. And then they don't even have what they used to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get it. I mean, I've only played a very small amount. Like I played a game by myself and I played the game that I played with you, which by the way, got my ass beat in that game. So that was pretty sick. But other than that, I haven't played
We had
much
like
of
the
it.
number 2 team in the nation too, man. What
Dude,
happened?
I'll tell you what, my running back was dog shit. That guy stinks.
What? Your
He
running back
stinks.
was the one person doing
He
work.
he stinks. I don't like him very much,
Oh my
honestly.
god, he was the one person working.
I'm gonna have to make my own character and make a running back that doesn't stink like that guy does, because he's upsetting.
Whatever.
But as for myself, man, I mean, Destiny, let's see. I've been playing a little bit of Skyrim on my Steam Deck, but Destiny and Cyberpunk really is the main thing right now. Uh, I'm cleaning up the map on Cyberpunk before I move on with the story and the DLC, which is nuts because it feels like there's so many times you clean up the map and then it adds new stuff to the map. Eventually, you get to the end of that stuff, but there's a lot of times where you think you're at the end of it and it just adds more. So that's been a process. But that's really all I've been playing. Nothing too crazy. I'm kind of like Ham said earlier. I'm kind of waiting for Mafia to hit Game Pass so that I can play it on PC because I do own it on Xbox and I've almost beat the game on Xbox. I think I'm like, if I had to guess, like 80 to 90% done with it. I just never finished it. But I would like to beat that game, and I'll probably start it over on PC once it hits Game Pass. But that's what I've been playing. That's what Ham's been playing. Let's get into a topic, and let me see if I can bring it up here on the screen for you guys because this one's interesting. Uh, Sony's Okay, so Sony's Fire Sprite, they acquired the studio back in, I think it was 2021 when they acquired Fire Sprite. Um, and they're working on, quote, a dark horror game. And I read on Twitter, or the thing I read on Twitter initially, was that it's based on an existing IP. So I don't know what that would be at PlayStation, but we'll see what that is. But it's a dark horror game based on an existing IP by this new studio, and it is potentially releasing day one on PC. This would be interesting for a few reasons. The biggest reason, obviously, being, you know, PlayStation's whole stance on games on PC launching day and date on PC. It's always been, we're never going to do that. And then it was, we're only going to do that with games as a service. And now, if this is true, it's a big if, but if it's true, this isn't a games as a service. As far as we know, this is a single player horror game that would be launching day and date on PC. So I want to pass it off to you, Ham. What are your thoughts when you hear perhaps a new approach by Sony, maybe even starting with this game?
Um, Here it is. That's really like my answer. Like, who knows if it's like 100% sure
Mhm.
yet? Because this is just all just kind of like just what like leaked data or something like that.
Yes.
But I'm not surprised, and they really honestly should. Like it's kind of silly that they don't, especially when they're trying to give you that like they're trying to give you, you know, that like facade or something like that of play with your friends however you want, right? Like just give it to them.
Yeah.
Just like stop, you know, beating around the bush and just give it to them. because it's going to make you sales and it's going to make the player happy. Like, I don't really see what you get. Whether it's a single player or a multiplayer game, I don't see what you get out of holding that back. Especially like if you're gonna give them multiplayer games to be able to play with their friends, why wouldn't you guys want to, why wouldn't you want to give them the opportunity to play other games and have experiences while being like, you made a Discord chat to be able to talk to people on PC. So like, why not be able to play single player games day one with them? Like Mike's not always playing the same game that we're playing. When we're on Xbox talking together.
Yeah.
Right. But then we'll get together and play Destiny together, or we'll get together and do something, and he's on his PC and we're on Xbox, or you're on PC and I'm the only one on Xbox, or we're both on, or whatever,
Yeah. Anything.
Yeah. Whatever the combination is. But it's just, it's stupid that they're even kind of holding on to the idea, because to me, it's like pretending to care about your audience by kind of giving them a bad deal. And just because a few folks that have their nose up about it think it's a cool thing, that they then expect everybody to kind of fall in line to, oh yeah, that's right, they're not part of the cool crowd. And then you realize that you need that crowd to get money.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, we thought we were cooler than we really are. That's kind of what them dabbling with PC looks like, right? It's like, you're fucking with me, but behind closed doors. Whenever you're in front of everybody, you're like, no, we're all on our own. And then as soon as like, it's like, oh man, time to go to bed, then you hitting up that late night tip and trying to be like, oh yeah, there ain't none of my boys around, they can't see what I'm doing. It's tragic. It's tragic. So I mean that's kind of what it looks like. I mean, when Xbox did it, I was just like, I don't think any of us were really happy as console fans to see Xbox go into PC as hard as they did. But to see the way that PlayStation's doing it really makes me respect Xbox's decision, because it's just like, it's just so like, what's the ear? You have to keep your ear to the street, and like, why am I worrying about that?
Yeah. Xbox didn't worry about that. They just said, hey, our games are going on PC. That's what's happening. And that's kind of what you can either be upset about that or not upset about it, but that's just what's happening. PlayStation's doing this whole thing of like, we're testing the waters on this. Oh, they didn't like that. Like with the whole Helldivers thing. Oh, they loved Helldivers, but we're gonna tell them to make a PlayStation account. Oh, they didn't like that. They didn't like that. Sorry guys. And then they'll come back and say, actually, no, we're doing that again anyway. So it's like they're really indecisive. Also, this whole scenarios is again more indecisiveness, I guess. I feel like it's obvious that this is kind of the final step, but this is a logical step for PlayStation.
For Sony.
This is a logical thing for them to do, but it's just so dumb that it's taken. And who knows when this game comes out? This might not even come out till this generation. Who the hell even knows? But like, it's just weird that it's taken them this long for this to be even a rumor of like, hey, maybe we'll release a game that isn't multiplayer day and date on PC. It's like, I don't know. That's something you guys should have been doing, let alone doing sometime in the future with this game. Like, I don't know. I think I very much agree with you. This is something that, like, me as someone who I mean, I'll say it. I'm invested in the PlayStation platform. I buy a PlayStation every time they make one, up to this point. But like, I just like it wouldn't hurt me if it went to PlayStation. In fact, it would just make my decision easier because I can just go, okay, well, I don't need to buy a PlayStation. I'll buy it on PC. Either way, they're still getting the money out of me because I'm still buying the game, and that's really all they want. They don't like, and that's another thing. I guess the other big topic this week was like console sales and everything. People arguing back and forth about that. Like none of these companies, PlayStation, Microsoft, and I think you said it outside of maybe Nintendo. It was either you or Vinny that said that in the chat the other night. But outside of like maybe Nintendo, none of these companies really want to sell you a console at a loss because that's what
Yeah,
they're
I was saying
doing.
that.
Yeah, like none of them want to do that. So like if
Yeah, it's silly to
ideally
think that somebody wants to make a loss.
exactly. Ideally, PlayStation and Microsoft would sell you no consoles. In an ideal world for them, they'd sell you no consoles and you would buy their things on PC. They'd make money off of that and they'd be happy. Like that's the ideal world for them. But like for me, it just makes the decision easier. I mean, I don't know. I guess I could see being upset about this if I was somebody who was, still hell bent on console, and I still do like my consoles. I really do, but like, it's not. I got to be honest with myself. A console isn't what it was even 10 years ago, let alone 20 years ago. So, this is kind of the inevitable future. It seems like, and it's a good thing. I don't think it's anything to be super upset about. But yeah, did you want to add anything before we head on to the next PlayStation thing, which has me a little bamboozled, quite honestly.
No, like I'm genuinely interested to see what this game is, right? Because I have no idea what's under their sleeve with this.
Yeah,
But I'm just saying if you're gonna put games on PC, just put the games on PC. If you're not, then don't. Like
mhm,
just choose a lane. Quit mess. I mean, because like they look at it as running tests, right? And it's the same thing Xbox did with
yeah,
putting games on the PlayStation.
yep,
If you're gonna do it. If you're not, then don't. But stop messing around with your fan base, right?
yes,
Like we're not like as much as you want to like run these tests, and I understand sometimes you need to run a test to kind of understand how things go, and that's why certain like Microsoft will do a test in a country to see how Game Pass family plan works or something like that, right? Like I understand some of that, but like what I don't understand is like full like a actual like IP and stuff that people care about. Like them not knowing where it's gonna go is like frustrating, and it's super annoying to even see that like when like let's say an IP, like let's say Final Fantasy for instance, that how that got taken away from Xbox from not getting any of the newer ones.
mhm,
But then now Square Enix wants to work with like it's like dude, like quit fucking around. Just either choose to go for everybody or like stop taking these scummy deals. And that's what I
yeah,
think a lot of this stuff is like it's either scummy deals or scummy ideas on how to like finesse. And it's just I don't know. I feel like if you just did things the right way, you'd probably get more sales. And in this
yeah,
specific situation, I definitely know they'd get more sales. Putting games out on PC day one, like I think maybe the real problem, which they're not really telling us, is that they don't have enough developers to do it.
sure, yeah,
I think that's that's the reality about it. It's not that they care. It's not that they care about you or whatever customer, right?
mhm,
It's the fact of the matter that they don't have enough, so they're gonna look cool in the meantime.
Yeah.
And if they do have enough, then shame on them.
Well, yeah, if they have enough, and it's just the whole situation is just weird. It's weird. It's lame. It doesn't make any sense for not even just for like fans. I mean, just on the fan perspective, like I said myself, I'm invested in the PlayStation platform. Like, get one every generation. As a fan, like if there's this whole I would imagine it hurts the business if there's this whole thing, and you could say the same for Xbox with the whole we're going to put some games on PlayStation. We're not going to tell you which ones right now. It's still kind of a test. We don't know yet. But like if you're going to do that whole thing, if that's your line of thinking going forward, it's like at a certain point in the case of PlayStation, I'm going to be like, well, okay, so if you're going to put this game on PC day 1, I'm just going to assume you're going to do that for all of them. I'm just going to make the assumption. Same thing with Xbox. If you're going to put this game on PlayStation, I'm going to make the assumption that eventually you will do that for all of the games. And then I'll make my decision based on that. For PlayStation, it's okay, I'll probably be on PC. For Xbox, it's well, as long as you give me an Xbox, I'll be on Xbox. It's really that simple. And it's like them doing this whole, I don't know, uh clouded like I don't know what you would call it. Just not being clear, being very shady about everything. It just makes I don't know, makes decisions harder on customers, which is kind of dumb. It would seem like the last thing you want to do. And then it also just kind of makes you seem stupid, really. So I don't know. That's just me. I think it's silly that we've kind of waited this long for this to be a talking point. I mean, it's always been a talking point, but like an actual rumored thing with like a game attached to it. But you know, we'll see what happens with this. But the next Sony topic, because we got two of them and we're gonna pair them together, uh, is this right here. Sony's God of War studio is working on a new IP. Developer says. God of War developer Santa Monica Studio is working on a new IP. So this, when I read this, my initial reaction was duh. My initial reaction was duh. I thought we were going to hear about this like 2 years ago.
Right.
That was my initial reaction because, like, there, who was it? Was it Herman Holst? Like a couple years ago before
Yeah,
PlayStation
I really
Showcase,
like what they're cooking over there. At Santa
he's
Monica.
like, "Man, I was just over at Sony Santa Monica, and you guys wouldn't believe. Oh, looked amazing." It's like, "Oh man, that means we're going to see it at this show that's happening in literally a week." And then the show comes and goes, and it's not there. And I can't even remember what we got to see there. I'm not even entirely sure. But it's like one of those things. Let's see if we got some actual info here. So from what we knew before or knew rumored before, it was a sci-fi, like a sci-fi game from
Yeah,
Corey
an outer
Barlog.
space sci-fi game.
Yes. So it would be the first game we get from Corey Barlog since God of War 2018 because while I think Barlog was credited on Ragnarok, it was actually I forget the guy's name and I feel bad about that. But the other dude, his like partner in crime there, did the actual directing of that game, and that was his game, which was fantastic, by the way. But I mean, it's kind of stinks because there's no like new direction that we or new info we have on the thing. So it's kind of I'm still assuming it's a sci-fi game from Corey Barlog, but it is interesting that hey, we've been hearing this forever, and now I don't know, now we're hearing it again. It just seems kind of backwards. And I brought this up specifically to talk like this is kind of why I mean, I don't know about you, Ham. This is kind of why I'm a little bit disillusioned, we'll say that, with PlayStation at the moment. Because it's like we've been hearing stuff like this forever and nothing's ever come of it. At least not publicly. Like, sure, they can be working on an amazing game, and sure, when it comes out, it'll probably be amazing, but it's like I don't know when it comes out. I don't know what it's called. I haven't seen a logo. I haven't heard any developer talk about it, kind of thing. And I don't know. I also wanted to pass off the question to you, not just about this, but like PlayStation in general. Like, how do you feel? We're what, 4 years into this generation? How are you feeling about PlayStation? The console, not everything else. The console.
All right, so which one did you want me to answer first?
Go with the PlayStation question. How do you feel about PlayStation 5, the console?
I feel like it's underutilized
Yeah.
for myself personally.
Mhm.
And I think a big portion of that comes from me being like an Xbox first kind of guy because like I'll play all third party games like on Xbox and stuff like that because that's where like majority of my friends are and stuff like that. Um, as for like first party, I'm pretty disappointed in kind of both consoles a little bit. But
Mhm.
like I'm honestly more disappointed with Sony, and here's why. I just haven't seen enough variety. They're just
Yeah.
like to me it's just not enough variety. And I'm just what I mean is like I'm playing a lot of sequels.
Sequel,
And
yeah.
like if I'm just talking like I'm not talking about Sony exclusives because if we throw exclusives in there, then like the conversation starts to be a little bit different, right? Because then
Mhm.
you start to bring in Helldivers, you bring in Final Fantasy 16 and Rebirth and all that, yada yada, right? But we're just talking about like first party, what they've made themselves and given me.
Yes.
And as I said about both consoles, just to kind of be fair, I'm kind of a little disappointed a little bit with both, but I'm more so disappointed with Sony because it's like Naughty Dog hasn't been here at all.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima, that was last gen's game. It looks cool on the PS5. I'm happy you guys updated it. Man, if I'm keeping it a buck, that's a last gen game.
Mhm.
Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2 were good games, but
Oh,
why am
yeah.
I only getting games from Insomniac? Ratchet and Clank as well. Returnal wasn't even yours yet. It pretty much was. But
Yeah.
it wasn't like your IP until you bought it after it came out. And that's probably the most innovative game that they've made so far, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
It's a new IP. It's outside of what Sony usually does. It's a roguelike. Um, it's a pretty and flashy game. It's a good looking game.
Mhm.
I want to give them, and I'm gonna go on ahead and just give them the credit for that one, okay? Because they
Yeah,
were
that's
really
fair.
the only ones fucking with Housemarque like that, right?
Yes.
Um, but let's see, God of War, that's another sequel. Gran Turismo, sequel. Horizon, boring sequel.
Ooh.
What else from the PS5? Like, what else first party have we got from there? I mean, Demon Souls, the remake. I'm not really a Souls guy, so I mean, but that's just a remake. Until
Yeah.
Dawn, remake. Yeah, I mean, it ain't out yet, but I'm going ahead and throw that in there as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when I look at it, I didn't know that this was gonna be the PlayStation Pro squared. That's what this kind of feels like. And I remember what was his name? Is his name Austin Evans? Is it
Austin Evans, tech
Okay.
YouTuber.
Yeah, the YouTuber. I remember
Mhm.
Austin Evans at the beginning of the generation. He said, "This is the Xbox 1.5." I believe is what he said.
Mhm.
Is when he said that about the Series X. I'm not feeling much different about the PS5.
Yeah,
It feels
I
like the
agree.
PS4.5. I mean, if you look at it, a lot of their games, they kind of just like the games that aren't on the PS4 from the PS5 are games that people have proven could run off of older hardware. Now they didn't look the best,
Mhm.
and I mean, but they also weren't like, I don't know. Like I feel like I'm just being like kind of bitchy and complaining right now, which I don't like.
I get that. Yeah.
But like I don't know, man. It just when I bought the console, I played Astrobot. I was like, man, this is gonna be a hell of a generation, and I haven't got that.
Yeah. And I get, because when I bought the console, like I get the same reason I get a PlayStation every generation, because eventually at some point you're gonna get a new Naughty Dog game. That's why I got the PS5. It's like, okay, well, it's not gonna be there at launch. That's fair. You know, they just launched Last of Us Part Two. I mean, they gotta have some time to work on a game. But like, I mean, here we are 4 years later. I mean, the last rumor we heard about Naughty Dog was that they canceled Last of Us Factions too. Like that's the last rumor I've heard about my favorite PlayStation studio. So like it is a bummer to be like, kind of a downer and everything on it, but like the way I feel is I mean, I constantly see on Twitter like where would you rank the PS5 among PlayStation generations? And my answer, I mean, as of right now at this moment, would be last. I'd probably put it last. I mean, I have PS3 first, PS1, PS2, PS4, and then PS5. So, I mean, who knows what happens? Maybe like they could have a strong 2025. I know at least we're getting Death Stranding next year. I'm really looking forward to that. Like that's one of my most anticipated games for next year. And who knows, they could even have a strong 2026, and I'm hoping that's the case. But up to now, it's just I kind of it's news like this that kind of just has me a little disillusioned with Sony at the moment, or PlayStation at the moment. We'll say that. But we'll move on to like uh, I was gonna say some more fun stuff, but let's get the Avowed thing out of the way because we haven't
I
had
just
a
put up
show in
a
a while.
post. I just put
What's
up a
that?
post on. I just put up a post on Twitter saying, "Will Naughty Dog make a game for this generation?" In parentheses, remakes don't count. Yes, no, more TV shows.
Dude. Well, that's another thing. We got Last of Us season 2 confirmed before we know anything about their next game. Not only confirmed, we saw the trailer. Looks great, by the way. It looks great. But like,
Sure.
I mean, I don't even know what their next game is. We don't even have a logo or a name or a rumor or nothing. It's just dead silent. But it is what it is. I mean, I guess we'll bundle this into this will be like the mini negative part of the show, and then we'll move on to some more fun things, and we'll end the show with something that I'm really, really excited about. Uh, but Avowed has been delayed until early 2025. This is kind of old news, but we didn't do a show last week, so we got to mention it at least, right? So early 2025, February, what was it, 18th, I believe, 2025 for Avowed. Uh, the question is, I mean, I don't think this shocks either of us, especially given the way they explained it was there's just a pretty big clog of games that are coming at the end of the year, and unfortunately, this one drew the short end of the straw and was the one that got moved.
Yeah,
But
their
does
excuse
it?
wasn't too hot either.
Yeah, I get that. People don't like that excuse.
Well, like
But
it's just really tone deaf. I don't know what they expected saying that. Like to me, that's that classic Xbox bullshit. Like, dude, just say that we delayed. Just keep it professional, man.
yeah,
Like sometimes, like I don't like. This is the one thing I don't like is like I don't like that the social media page for Xbox tries to be your friend. I don't like it, and it looks cringe as fuck. Like let me just read you a few of the last things that came from the Xbox marketing team from them in particular, and Game Pass as well. Game Pass's thing as well. For
yeah.
every cat emoji, we'll change this kitty's hat. Like, who cares? Xbox themselves says online connection comes in two forms: Wi-Fi signals and the bonds we build with other players. Who gives a fuck? Let me give you one last one. Today feels like a good day to slay some demons. Like, we don't need that. We
Yeah.
don't need that. You don't need an excuse to add to your backlog. But if you wanted one, save up to 80%. But meanwhile, thanks for delaying Avowed. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Uh,
You see what I'm saying? Like, you just
yeah.
walked yourself into a fucking trap. You just said, hey, we actually care about your backlog. So go on ahead and make sure that you chew on this stuff. We're going to move this over here. But if you want to add to your backlog, here's old ass games.
80% off. It's a good deal. You should grab some.
It doesn't work, in my opinion, like that. Like, that's why I'm like I like that Phil Spencer says what he says on his Twitter page. I like that Sarah Bond, they're their own person. I don't need Xbox the marketing channels to pretend to be people or friends. It's fucking weird, it's cringe, and it's uninformative. It's very uninformative. Like, I'd expect this business, for whenever they want to say something to us, they're teaching us something. They're showing us how something works. Here's a dev diary of this or whatever. Not saying this right here. I'm going to put this on the screen. Not saying this. Whoever you get is your main. No take backsies.
No take backs, Sam. Who's yeah, I agree. Like, there's a lot of, especially like for me, it's
So
the Game Pass.
unprofessional.
Yeah, for me, it's the Game Pass account where it's like
They're the
every
worst.
every now and then they'll have a banger tweet, and I'm like, that's cool. But like a lot of it, like this one right here, the one you mentioned, first off, for every cat emoji, we'll change this kitty's hat. It's tweets like that where it's like, okay, did you need to do you need to tweet that? Like, what does that do? What does that what does that do really? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they must have more data. Obviously have more data than I do, but it's just I look at
This
that and I'm
one
like,
is
that's
okay.
cringe.
You want to be a little goofy or whatnot, but this is informative at least. Transmission received. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 has officially arrived on Game Pass. That's informative. Sure, if you want to be
Yes.
a little goofy and say transmission received and whatnot, that's fine. But right below it with the whole every every cat emoji. Like, what is that?
Don't know. There's a lot of tweets. There's like multiple tweets like that every
Hope you
week from the
like
Game Pass account.
befriending alien critters. Like, won't you tell me about the fucking game? In
Oh,
this
wow,
single
yeah.
player, yada yada, expect to do this or something. Like, what is this? Like, it makes me
Yeah.
kind of angry that there are people that are getting paid to put this shit up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, the Game Pass account is probably the main offender for this kind of stuff. But, that's what again, it's one of those things. It just you never know what you're gonna get, and that's not a good thing. And usually it's gonna be something a little bit cringe. It's gonna be a little something that just doesn't really add to what you're trying to promote, whatever that may be. And it just makes me kind of cringe a little bit. But I guess the final question for this.
Doing a little dancey dance because we're about to play Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess all weekend. Like, what the? You're not a person. Does this person are they aware that they are not? This is not a personal account. It's so it just it just doesn't. I hate it. It literally makes me mauled a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit because it's so uninformative and it makes me not want to even take your tweet serious. It makes me just scroll past because I don't know if I'm going to get something informative or I don't know if I'm going to get something that's just stupid.
Yeah. Vort says, I think they're trying to appeal to younger people and failing miserably. Kinda. Yeah, like
It's
it's
really
it's
cringy.
it's like they're trying to they're just trying to make memes. And as opposed to like telling me, "Hey, this game is available in Game Pass," they're trying to do that but make it a meme. And it's like you don't need to make that a meme.
Look
You
at
can
what
just tell
PC
me.
Game Pass put right here. Now tap to practice your 360 no scope. Like, stop it.
Oh man. Vort
Their
says
engagement farm stinks. If they're trying to, oh man, it stinks.
Vort wants to know
They need to
what
give
is
that account to fucking what is that fucking place called? The people the people making God damn it. What is that shit called?
think it'd be better if they gave it to the old Arby's account.
I mean, that'd be pretty funny. Or KFC.
Yeah.
But I was thinking the people that are making Clockwork Revolution. You give that account to
Dude,
them.
the In Exile needs to be like, I don't know how they haven't conferred with An Exile on marketing tips. Maybe they have and they're just not listening. Because if that's the case, they're obviously not listening. That's like, in terms of marketing, that is the best studio they have at Xbox, and it's not even really close. It's really not even close. Um, is the Xbox Game Pass Twitter account manager lobotomized? Oh my god. Uh Vort wants to know, Ham, what is that ancient artifact next to you? I think he's referring to that CRT you got there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's a nice retro TV he's got there.
Yeah.
Uh
It is.
but I totally agree with you on that. And
For
Exile's like
youngsters.
oh dude. How much is that CRT? Not that, but like how much did you pay for a
I got this
CRT?
for like $10.
Oh really? Damn.
I got lucky though because I went to like a middle of nowhere like pawn shop. They don't know what they have.
Oh yeah, true. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. But yeah, I would agree. An Exile, like, do some consulting with An Exile. Get your marketing in order, Xbox. But we can move on to some actual fun positive topics. In fact, you know what? Do you want to talk about Warner Bros. Reportedly, possibly, maybe, kind of, almost certainly looking to sell stake in its video game business? I know everybody likes to bring up like uh you know I wish Xbox would buy them, but what are your thoughts on? Do you even wish Xbox would buy Warner Brothers?
Xbox buying Warner Brothers, like I could see that happening. It'd be kind of wild for them to jump right back into that seat so soon.
Yes, it'd be insane.
It'd be pretty nuts, but like I could totally see something like that happening. You know, what would be even crazier is if Sony got them,
That would be nuts. I could see if
especially
Sony.
seeing that they, especially seeing that they have Sony Pictures.
Yeah, I could see like if they can make that happen money wise. Like, I mean, who knows what they're trying to sell that for? But if they can make that happen, I think Sony has probably the easiest lane to doing that, because it's like if Microsoft says, "Hey, we want to buy them," the FTC and the CMA is going to be looking at them like, "Dude, what the fuck are you guys talking about right now? Like, you just got Activision Blizzard." They're going to be looking at them pretty sideways if they say they want to buy them. But if Sony says they want to buy them, I mean, Sony didn't just get an ABK. You know, it's like Sony might have a layup there if they want to take it. If they want to take it, I mean, I know obviously as an Xbox fan, I prefer if Xbox got them specifically for the whole Game Pass thing. But like at the end of the day, I don't think this is something. I know a lot of people are like hyping up. This might be it for Xbox. Xbox would swoop in and take this. I just don't see them, like Ham said, jumping back into that seat, jumping back into the fire for that. I don't think it's. I don't think it's really worth it, especially because with WB Games, you're getting like, aren't you getting the studios in this case? You're getting like a lot of the talent and everything, but you're not really getting the IP. You still got to license that out and everything. And it's like, is that appealing to anybody? Really? I don't know.
Oh
We'd
no,
have to
man!
see.
Mortal Kombat. I'm not sure how well they're doing, but it doesn't seem like they're doing like the best of the fighters. That's for sure. Um,
No.
um, let's see. I mean,
I mean, here's this. What
thinking,
is
I'm thinking.
more?
Oh yeah, Suicide Squad wasn't like it was a fun game, but it did terrible.
Yeah.
Sales wise, and I'm trying to think maybe like another like Hogwarts would do like numbers or whatnot, but that's like also taking on issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because as soon as you announce you're coming out with that game, it's like it's a problem.
Oh yeah. People are going to be up in arms as soon as they hear anything Harry Potter related. Uh, and you said Mortal Kombat was in a pretty rough state. I mean, literally on this page, I don't know if you can see that Mortal Kombat Onslaught is shutting down after 1 year. That was 2 weeks ago. So,
God damn.
like, yeah, I mean, Mortal Kombat, like, as somebody who doesn't even, like, I'm not really into fighters, and I haven't been since, like, PS1. But, like, from the outside looking in, Mortal Kombat doesn't seem to be, like, it's not the most popular thing anymore. It just isn't, is what it seems like. Which is, sad, I guess.
I just
But
don't feel like they evolved enough. Like what they decided to do, and it makes sense story wise, but they remade the universe essentially, except instead of Raiden, now it's Liu Kang that
yeah.
runs everything, right? And I think a lot of people thought it was cheesy, and it did. I like, sure, it's part of the story or whatnot, but whether it's part of the story or not, it doesn't change the fact that somebody thinks it's not that interesting. And then on top of it, you're you're really pandering to an older crowd, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are super, in my opinion, I don't think a lot of people are looking forward to playing a 2D fighter, you know?
Yeah,
And
true.
$70 for it is nuts. Like I think a lot of people are looking to I feel like I phrased that wrong. I feel like a lot of people are looking to play a 2D fighter, but I just don't think at $70.
Is Mortal Kombat $70? Was the new one more
It was
$70?
$70 when it came out, yeah.
Ew.
And then on top of it, it was like 150 gigs or something like that. And it's like it's a 2D fighter. Like that, I mean, that's not something you'd really know or care about until after you bought the game, right? So it's like whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of think 2D fighting and the same characters being around since I was since their first game, since I was around and stuff like that. And it doesn't really like to me, it just doesn't has not evolved enough. And I mean, I'm sure there's tons of people that would argue with me about that, but they have to remember they're fans of it,
Yeah.
and I used to be a fan of it, but I'm just kind of like, why would I buy the same Mortal Kombat game? I mean, that's kind of the way I kind of look at it, right? Like, I don't really
Yeah.
want to buy the same thing. And sometimes I do, but like usually there's like a break between, right? So like Madden, for instance, like I used to buy Madden, but it was like every other or every 2-3 years, like a normal person, not like Madden 2K.
Oh yeah. Every year. Every year. Coming up in a couple weeks.
But see, there's a natural evolution to basketball that Mortal Kombat never made. There's always new players coming into the NBA games and football games and stuff like that. So people can say, "Oh, it's the same game every year." Yeah, it is, but that quarterback was on a totally different team
Mhm.
that year. So you can argue that as reason enough for somebody to just to kind of keep up with it, right? And that's
Yeah.
not to me, that's not as crazy as just thinking like you get some new characters sometimes, but a lot of it's just circled around the same people over and over and over. That's kind of what Mortal Kombat is to me. Good game, great story, phenomenal story, but it just didn't keep. I'm 36 now, dude.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be trying to. You shouldn't be trying. I'm not the audience that you need to sustain yourself.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's the people in high school. To me, it's the like if we're talking about gaming in general, it's the preteens, teens, and like college folks that you should be kind of you know aiming at, and then still dabbling with the older folks as time goes on. Like I think you can easily. I feel like that's something that can be done, but I feel like the old folks are who's still making some of these games. Some of them just haven't been able to adjust as well as others. Like I feel like Kojima adjusted. He understands. Oh, people like weird shit. Well, I'm really good at weird shit.
Yeah.
Sam
He
Lake,
is.
same.
Dude, yeah, definitely.
Sam Lake. I mean, he went from. I mean, look at what he's even like. And plus, what he's made in the past also really is kind of just wow for the future as well, right?
Mhm.
And he's also taken a little bit of risk as well with allowing that IP to be given to Rockstar, right? He allowed it to
Yeah.
go outside of its own element, which I think they did with Mortal Kombat, but I feel like they cowered back and went back to just what they thought worked. Because if you think about it, like there's a bunch of old Mortal Kombat games that had some really cool stuff in it. One of my favorite ones, I'm not sure if I can find it right away. Yeah. Yeah, this is one of the coolest, crazy Mortal Kombat games ever. It's Mortal Kombat Deception. It had an open world element to it, and you got to learn from different fighters. So you learn from Scorpion on how to do his moves. And you learn from other people how to do their moves, and you're like kind of doing what we're doing in Destiny right now, kind of like piecing the character together how we want.
Okay.
Right?
I think I remember that game.
Right. But now when you go to Mortal Kombat, it's like it's exactly what I'm saying about NCAA football in this game. It's the exact same thing. Where it's like we had more a long time ago. Now you have more power and we have less.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I feel like some of these games didn't understand that we didn't need as much pretty graphics because like I said, this game is like 150 fucking gigs. And I'm just like, do we need that much?
Apparently they do for some reason, and that's concerning. That's concerning.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like from the outside looking in, Mortal Kombat. Like I feel like when I was a kid, Mortal Kombat was one of the most popular things
It was.
probably ever at that point. And now it's like every now and then they come out with another Mortal Kombat game, and I'm like, oh, there they are. They're still doing it. But it's like it's not like a thing anymore, really. I don't hear about it anymore. Really at all. But it is what it is. I don't know what's gonna be next for them. I also don't know what's gonna be next for Warner Brothers Gaming, but I guess we will find out sooner or later. And the final thing I wanted to talk about, which is actually exciting. I don't know if you saw this, and maybe you even talked about it on your show earlier today on your channel. Um, but the Space Marine 2 previews. Have you seen any of these? Have you gotten any of the general
I've seen a couple
sentiment?
short clips, but I haven't seen the actual whole trailer.
So, like, if I just scroll through this stuff, like, I can't find a single one that says
Yeah,
this
that's
is bad.
disappointed.
Yeah, that's disappointing. I cannot find one. Like, all of these are like glowing previews for Space Marine 2, which is phenomenal.
Meanwhile,
Because
fucking Ubisoft's flying people to fucking Disneyland.
oh, dude. So I didn't get to watch, but I saw that was in your guys' title today. So I'm assuming you talked about that. Do you like what's the whole thing on that, by the way? Like, what's the backstory on that? Like, are they flying people out saying, hey, give us a review and we'll fly you out to Disneyland? Or are they saying,
While
hey,
you're here,
we're gonna butter you up while you're here, and then you'll give us that good review, right? Is that kind of the thing they're doing?
I think they're doing that with anticipation to get a good review.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty plain. I mean, it's pretty
Yeah.
plain to see. It's like going over somebody's house and they're trying to, they're trying to get you a record deal, and they're like, you want to take out the Porsche, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I mean, I've never drove a Porsche in my life. Sure,
Yeah.
I'm not even really that mad at the people that would like even do it. I know some people like when me and Loke had our conversation, he was like very against it. And I could see why somebody would be very against it. But to me, I'm like, I'm very against it if you can't back up what you write.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like, it
fair.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter to me how many because I've seen people kiss ass for less,
Yeah.
right? Like I've seen people kiss ass when they ain't making a dime from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they're spending money to kiss ass. Right? So like if somebody got wined and dined, like I know this is maybe a little too personal, but like imagine a girl, right? She just got the best meal of her life on a date. Does that mean she has to fucking date her? Date that person?
Yeah.
You know, that person could still be like, nah, this is still ass.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot
Definitely.
of people that are like, yo, like that are gonna kind of question your credibility. Sure, right? But if but I think at the end of the day, if you know who you're being is real, then it shouldn't fucking matter. If you
Agreed.
know you're being honest, real, and whatnot, it's just like fuck what somebody else thinks. They weren't gonna give me anything for being for being who I am. And I mean, but at the same time, it's like, well, then be ready for somebody to pull that out every time you have a review.
Yeah, that's
Because every
fair.
time you have a review, now somebody's gonna think you got buttered up for, especially if you give a positive review.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like,
That's
well, what did this person get? You know?
that's fair. Because again, I don't know. Like, I didn't read too much into it. I saw like people upset on Twitter about it, and I'm kind of the opinion like, uh, again, not knowing anything, I just kind of assume this happens for everything. I just kind of assume like every time a game is released by anybody, like, and there's previews, I assume it happens. They say, hey, come out for a preview of the game, and we'll, you get to go to this nice restaurant. You get to stay at this nice hotel. Isn't this really cool? Isn't this really cool? You're going to give us that good review, right? I just assume that happens. Maybe I'm wrong. I just assume that happens for
Me
every.
too. And that's why, like, when Loke was talking about it, I was like, I'm not sure if I would decline. Like,
Yeah,
Loke
I
was
would.
very firm on like, I wouldn't do that, and I'm just like, I might.
Yeah, I might.
I was like, I might, because it's just like, if at the end of the day, because Loke was like, well, what happens if you come back, give that 7 out of 10, and then they don't choose you? And I was like, well, then I'm right back where I was.
Yeah,
And then he's like, well, what happens if then a couple games later they re-invite you back and then they say, man, that review you gave us last time wasn't that great, and that's so, unfortunately that's why we haven't got to see you. But if you really enjoy this game, let hopefully we get a chance to see you soon. A backhanded
yeah,
kind of thing to say, right? I
yeah,
mean, at that point, it would be on me to make the right decision.
yeah.
And that's really all it is. It's not my problem that he spent $500 on my steak. That's not my problem. I came there
Exactly,
to review a game, and that's what he said I could do.
dude.
I didn't know I was getting into a limo.
Yeah, dude. If that's exact scenario happened to me, hey, you didn't review our game that well last time. We're hoping this time, you can we can see you have a really great review, and we'll be in touch afterwards, of course. If that happened to me, I'd be like, let's where are we getting the steak at? Where are we getting the steak at? Like I don't like this idea that I mean, for me personally, if I were to for whatever reason get flown out to review a game, especially if it's a game I'm excited for, I'm gonna do it. Like, I'm gonna do it. If they want to butter me up or whatever, by all means do it. But like as long as I'm not signing a contract that's like, hey, you have to give our game, for example, an 8 out of 10, then why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah, like a minimum of 7 out of 10 you have to give it. Nothing
Yeah, like,
below. It's like,
exactly.
whoa.
If as long as that's not a stipulation, why wouldn't I do that? I I got to talk to Luke because I think he's kind of crazy for not doing that. Again, as long as that's not a stipulation. but like it's everyone's got their own opinions and everything. So it's like it's one of those things. It certainly hurts. I guess your credibility, especially if the game comes. I mean, we've seen it happen before with really fun games like Redfall. A lot of reviews were really positive, and that's because they gave you the best possible level in the game as a preview. They said, "Here, preview this level we got," and it was the best level in the game, and everybody played it, and they're like, "Oh, well, that was pretty good. That was pretty damn good." But then the rest of the game is just a collapsed nothing. It's like, are the reviewers lying, or are they being dishonest, or is it just are they giving you their experience? Who knows? It's a whole debate, but the general idea here is that Space Marine 2 reviews previews seem to be looking really, really positive right now. And forgetting the previews, the gameplay we're seeing on screen just looks fucking awesome, quite frankly.
It looks
So
very classic. I like it.
yeah, it looks
And I
sick.
mean, like it gives me that kind of dude bro 360 vibe.
Yeah. Also, this game's gonna have so I'm wondering if this game works a little bit like not so much a looter shooter like First Descendant, but I know like how First Descendant has operations. This is gonna have operations. So like kind of like Strikes and Destiny and stuff, from what I understand. Uh which sounds interesting. I mean, the whole game just looks so damn awesome. I can't wait to
I've
play
always
this.
wondered why like Gears of War never did anything like that. Or, like I wonder that about a lot of games. Like why aren't a lot of games trying to do what Destiny does and like try and make a bunch of different modes inside of them, especially like big games especially like team-based games or like games where you could be kind of like a like mini militia going into something.
Yeah. It's wild to me, and maybe we'll see it with the next one whenever that is. It's wild to me that Halo Infinite didn't have like raids.
Facts.
That's kind of nuts to me that wasn't even, maybe they talked about it and just never did it or something, but it was something that wasn't even like rumored or anything to have like it's like, why wouldn't you do that at all? Like I don't know. It seems like so many games could get away with doing it and it could be really, really awesome. But you know, Space Marine 2 is going to have some stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it. And it does come out. I can't remember if 2K is on the 6th and Space Marines on the 9th. I think Space Marines on the 9th. So it comes out in just over a month. So look forward to that. But that was the final topic. We ended it with something we're pretty excited about, which is nice.
Yeah, I can't wait to
But
cop this game.
yeah, it looks awesome, man. That game looks
What's the release date again?
September 9th is the
Okay,
release date.
so in just over a
So
month.
just over a month. Looking very much forward to it. But outros. We gotta get into the outros now. Ham, let them know where they can find you. Let them know what you're up to. What's coming up this week on your channel over there.
Tomorrow I'm gonna be live playing some college football on my first episode of just my college football 25 stream, I guess is what I just called it. I didn't call it anything special. But I'm gonna be playing some of that. I might be in a voice chat with some friends or whatnot, but I'm definitely gonna be playing it. And I'll be willing to talk about other games and stuff like that. It's not just all about college football. That's just the game I'll be playing. And then of course, bull sitting on Friday with you, Cozy, Loke, and Mental.
Yeah.
That should be a good time. There's actually some stuff to finally talk about. So
Yeah, right.
it's more of an interesting week than it has been the last few. Personally,
Yeah.
news that I'm interested about, that I'm hoping you guys are interested about.
Yeah, it's just a slow summer gaming news wise. It's been a pretty light summer. Summer's always light, but it's been extra light this summer. Versus, have you guys seen the Half-Life 3 leaks? I have not, but I refuse to believe anything Half-Life is being released in terms of a sequel until Valve says it, because I feel like there's always been leaks for Half-Life 3 and it just never happened. And I'm like one of these people who it'd be cool if it happened, but I just don't have any hope that it's gonna happen, sadly. I just don't. Uh but hey, if it does, that's a cool surprise. Um but as far as Ham's channel, links to that in the description. So go ahead and sub to the channel if for whatever reason you're not subbed yet. Legit,
Yeah,
like,
Vort, come on by. I'm not sure if Vort's subbed or not, but
yeah, Vort, if you're not subbed to that, sub to that channel because that's a really fun channel. And I would honestly say I have no issue saying that's the best channel on YouTube right now. So look forward to that on Friday. Look forward to a stream on Thursday as well. As for myself, you can find me here every Monday and Fridays for videos. Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern is the L3R3 podcast with myself, Hard Days Mike, and it's me, Tuan. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's the I must say the L3R3 podcast again. It's the two-player podcast with myself and Ham Solo, like we did tonight. And then on Fridays, I'm on Ham's channel for Bullsitting Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's where you can find me. We're going to get up out of here. We will see you all next week. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.